Welcome back, everyone. We are your hosts, Jacob and Steven, here to bring you Week 10 Technique of the Week. We've had questions from our students, and we actually do teach a lot of these, or answer a lot of these in class. The questions from our students a lot of times come from what are the applications to techniques that are performed within forms, or kata. And we answer these questions a lot. We teach a lot of different applications on how the potential outcome can occur based on a specific situation, unique to the form itself. Now you have to understand, in fighting, it's pure chaos. When you're working on forms, when you're working on specific sets of techniques, you're working on a controlled situation. You're working on specific movements, understanding angles of attack, understanding angles of defense, understanding structure, balance, movement, mobility. It's all two-dimensional when you practice it. But we also get into the fact of how it can become three-dimensional. What are some of the thoughts and questions that you've seen through teaching here as well?
Well, like a lot of people say, you see all these cool, flashy movements. Like, what does that actually do? Like, why am I doing this? It looks pretty, but how does this apply? Like, how can I use it in a fight?
What kind of movement?
Well, let's talk about one of our forms, Danshin number 1, where the technique is coming from this. I come from a high blocking punch. Now, here's the technique: here, this, and back this way. What does that do? How does that apply in a real situation, other than maybe I'm dancing? What am I doing?
And that's what we're here to answer for you today. What we're going to demonstrate first is the two-dimensional variation. Okay, I know we live in a three-dimensional world, but two-dimensional variation based strictly on the form itself. And then I'll show you kind of an idea on how it can apply to three-dimensional movement. And for those of you that practice any kata, any form, it doesn't matter if it's one, it doesn't matter if it's 100 different forms that you practice. Each specific movement in your form has a purpose. And to understand that purpose is to gain mastery of that form. Okay, so here's one idea from two-dimensional versus three-dimensional. So in the form itself, what he was talking about, setting, coming across to a block and a punch. If I'm in this position in the form work, I'm here, two-dimensional, and he's giving me a generic straight punch. I'm coming across. As the punch is coming in, I'm blocking underneath, and I'm throwing that punch underneath. So again, I'm here, blocking, punching underneath. Now we got a big hole between my arm and my fist here. He's going to punch down the middle. That's his goal. And as he punches, I trap. And I can start working on this block grab. If I have a jacket, I got a jacket. And the next movement here, I can pull to the ground, whether I'm pulling his arm down, whether I'm blocking a punch or a kick coming underneath here to hook and to set. So in the form, it's very pretty on movement. Very circular, very pretty. Okay, but again, two-dimensional variation. He comes in with that punch, block. Comes in, trap. I grab. Okay, I get a hold of something, whatever's there. He throws a low strike in. I hook. Notice I've shifted the weight. I'm pulling down, lifting up, and I make a little takedown with this. This is two-dimensional. This is working slow step by step. When you're applying this in three-dimensional context, it's nasty, it's ugly, but it's functional. Because everything we do in the majority of any form, any kata that you study, regardless of origin, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Indonesian, movements are large. Movements are very flashy, because whenever you do something large, when you work on it full speed, you lose that large capacity. Everything gets cut in half on faster movement. So a little bit of practical application. Let's say I'm not necessarily getting a high block to punch, but he comes in, he punches here, and I cover and I hit him. And all of a sudden, here's that punch coming in, I get this trap. I've got something here. Okay, so here's one application, and whatever he throws underneath here, I can hook him. I can throw him, I can readjust my position. Okay, I don't care what necessarily strike it is underneath. He threw a knee kick. I didn't know he was going to throw a knee kick. Okay, but the movement, the context is the same way. Get the block, get the trap, get the sweep, get the rotational movement, get the takedown. Okay, this is about as controlled as we can do it here. Because again, these are done fast. Okay, if he's throwing, and again, this is situational, if he's throwing any linear, or I mean even curved, he can throw a hook punch here and I can still trap it and get this block and start working on the inside of the arm to get this hook. Or he throws a hook punch on this side, I can still block this side and get the hook to the outside of the arm. That's fine too. You can take this any way you want. But again, when you're going slow speed versus full speed, The context is going to be the same as far as your technique, but the outcome becomes a little different because of the chaotic nature of what we're trying to do. Two-dimensional is understanding what the movement can be designed for. Three-dimensional and pressure testing it is how it can be applied in multiple situations. This technique might not work for everything he does to me. This technique might be something I'm not good with at all, but I understand how the technique works, so that way I can teach it to somebody else. And that, a little explanation for you on week 10, technique of the week. Anything you want to add?
I think that's about it for this one.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Check us out for week 11 coming up next week. If you have any questions, leave some comments down below. Subscribe. We've got a lot of content coming out. Thank you so much.